Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Jeff and Dan Show. This is a special edition of the Jeff and Dan Show. I am electrocuting Jeff. What the hell was that all about?
I wanted to feel like we were flying by the seat of our pants.
Well, I meant to flash on the computer.
Okay. That too, yeah.
Did you see that?
I did, yeah.
Anyways, tonight we're gonna we have a limited amount of time, so it's a very special Jeff and Dan show. We're just gonna talk a little bit about jobs and things maybe that you could learn about jobs and some tips and some pointers that we're gonna pass along to you. And welcome to the Jeff and Dan show, everybody. I am Dan, and this is my good buddy
Jeff.
Jeff?
Jeff.
He's from Russia.
I'm from Russia. We're going to talk about careerism.
So let's talk about careers.
Okay.
Let's just start out something smooth and easy. And
Get angry.
what was your most interesting job?
Most interesting job. Wow, that's a lot of jobs. Interesting how, though? I should ask that. Interesting just all together as
Yes.
one giant thing?
Well, one that, like, you might have really liked it, and you might have really made good money at Fox Connectors, you know. But I'm not sure what you did, but I'm thinking it was kind of monotonous.
Yeah.
That's not real interesting.
No, not really interesting.
But the time that you were a telemarketer, that would be interesting.
Yeah, until I had got the name Harry Dick and Sheets, and I was just like, I fucking lost it. Is this the Dick and Sheets for residents? Harry Dick and Sheets?
Yeah, what? What do you want? I heard all the jokes before, pal.
I'm just like, I had to hang up. I couldn't fuck it.
I said, you're fired. It's okay, I quit.
I never came back to the job. I was just like, I can't fucking do this anymore. This is fucking crazy.
That's a real name.
Yes.
Probably from the Hanover area,
Yes.
Hanover, Pennsylvania area?
Yes, yep.
Same place as Harry Undy is from. That's
Harry Underwear. Yes.
He might be dead, but his name was Harry Undy. And it was just like, just kind of a soiled Fruit of the Looms over there in the corner.
It's fucking terrible. But yes, most interesting job. One of them would have to be playing Santa Claus.
Yeah, that would be a real interesting job.
Yes.
I did, not near as long as you, but I did that for a couple parties. I'd say maybe total, I put maybe 10, 15 hours in total on all these parties, which are maybe 7.
Yeah. I did it as a shopping mall Santa.
So you did it for a whole season.
Yeah, I did it pretty much for the whole season.
What's the oddest request you got?
Well, one of the most memorable was definitely a young lady. She had been a teenager, 13, 14 years old. She came up, sat on my lap, sprouted a boner. No, I'm just kidding.
Mm-hmm.
No, but she asked for a Dolphins jacket. A Dolphins, like, a real nice, like, you know, one of those really cool, like, game jackets or whatever.
Oh, you mean the football team?
Yeah, like it was satiny. And
I thought, like, go out and skin a dolphin. And
made with dolphin skin, 100%, baby. And I had to ask her, I said, because I had gotten the shits of hearing, you know, these young people. You know, I see these kids nowadays walking around with these rock and roll t-shirts on, and I'm just like, you think Post Malone fucking created Ozzy Osbourne? What the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? So I'm thinking these kids have no idea. And I asked this young lady, I said, oh, that's great. What would you, why would you want one of those? You love the team? I said, are you a big Dan Marino fan? Or you No, I just like the color.
That's typical chick, dude.
I was just like, get off my fucking lap, you stupid bitch. Just the fuck out of here.
Fucking color.
That's right.
That's the way chicks are.
That's,
You know what? That's probably her favorite team. Then she's great. It was the color.
Yeah.
Other people, it's the quarterback. How it's the
Right.
the cutest quarterback.
Exactly. At that point in time, I was spouting off names of players and stuff, and she, of course, was just like, "Who?" And I'm just like,
Dan Marino.
Exactly.
Dan 13 Marino.
Yeah, it's like, and I don't understand why, not all women are like that. There are some women who like their football. You know what I mean? They know
Yes.
their football, and that's good.
My wife is one of
Yeah,
those. Well, she learned a lot from me. But
Yeah, but I mean, over time, learning progressively, that's fine. My wife has no idea who plays on the Baltimore Ravens. She's a Ravens fan because she works in Baltimore. She likes their colors. You know what I mean?
Does she think their quarterback is cute?
Lamar Jackson?
Yeah.
That guy's like a tree stump with a fucking acorn on top. Did you ever look at that guy's head? It's just this giant
Only
fucking
through-
stump, and then there's this tiny ass head.
Only through a scope.
Yeah, I can't go there, but he's not very charming looking. But he's a really good player. I mean, he is a really good quarterback.
So far, he's lighting him up. I'll give him credit. So far, he's lighting him up.
Yeah. So.
Next time he plays Pittsburgh, he's going to get a punch in the mouth, man. He's going to.
I hope so.
He's going to rue the day. He will rue the day he was drafted.
Yuns rue the day. Yuns. Okay, so what was your most interesting job?
Well, one job that was really interesting is whenever. Pick correct words here. Whenever I hauled autistic children for the school district in my school-sanctioned school student van.
I know what you're saying.
Otherwise known as... Never mind, I won't say it.
Yeah, don't say it.
Don't say it, I won't.
Probably, yeah.
That's a politically incorrect word.
Well, no, just I was thinking you were going to say the name of the place. I wouldn't say that either, but...
I hauled some of them were autistic off the charts, and it was just like...
Every day was an adventure.
Well, the one broke my heart. There's a school in Abbottstown. It's
Yeah.
not a school, it's a home.
Right.
For children.
Yeah.
And I had to pick this one girl up. Her eyes were always closed, and she wore this head helmet thing, and she...
One of those deals, yeah. Yeah.
I don't mean to make fun of her.
No. It's, yeah.
Dude, I feel to this day, I feel so bad for her.
Yeah.
So bad, and maybe they were just doing it just to get this girl some fresh air or something.
Yeah.
But why was she going to school?
Yeah. What was she gonna learn?
Yeah.
That is very
But
I sometimes see that and I wonder that exact thing. Why? What would you be able to teach that child? You know?
Or should they? And of course, at the expense of the school district, because we've got to be fair.
Right.
Should they be homeschooled, or in something other?
Like a tutorial process where somebody comes in and
Yes.
one-on-one functions with them.
Yes.
Right. I agree. That's. I don't know how far, and that's the thing. I mean, we just never know, and that's one thing I think we should determine with our children. I know it's something I tried to change with my kids. When my kids were younger, they would see somebody that was in a wheelchair who was deformed, or they were, mentally challenged, or autistic, or whatever. They would see that child, and they were performing in very much that manner, and maybe they had some type of, spinal injury or, cerebral injury, but they were just like that. And the one thing you want to say as a parent is, don't stare. But you shouldn't do that. What you should do is you should engage that person. More parents have come forward with those types have come forward with that type of child story, where they say too many people are like, don't stare, and they usher their kids away. And they say, you know what, it would be really cool if people didn't do that. If you as a parent would just tell your child to come over and say hello, that would mean the world to them. And I can see that. I can understand why that would be. I mean, it may not mean anything to them, but those parents have even gone as far as to say they would even feel better if the child came over, or the parents came over with the child, and basically said, what condition is this? What is this thing? Tell me more.
I remember thinking two things when I was a child and going through that staring.
Right.
That the two things were, one of them was, oh my God, I hope it's not contagious and it rubs off on me.
Right. Yes, I remember that one.
And the other one was, how did that happen?
Right. Exactly. What happened?
No, I see you don't have 3 fingers, but how did that happen?
Right. Exactly.
Is it a gene mutation, which at 4 years old I know nothing about?
Right. It just happens, you know. Like,
I guess
oh my God, I'm gonna have it happen to me. You know, I'm gonna all of a sudden my fingers can disappear. Like,
Look, don't
oh shit, I don't have any more fingers. What the hell happened to my fingers? You know, it's just like all of a sudden
fingers start falling off and shit.
It's called leprosy. Yeah. No, but that's a thing that I think as a parent I've tried to do. But I even still find myself, because of my upbringing, when I see somebody that's in a wheelchair, or one of those specialized chairs, or whatever, carts, or whatever you want to call it, I still find myself not being able to look at them for too long. You know what I mean? Like, I'll look at them and then I'll just look away.
Why?
Because in my upbringing, I was told, don't stare at somebody. Don't stare at somebody like that. You know what I mean? Because that's they don't want you to stare at them. That's rude. So I even now, today, because of my upbringing, don't look at people for that very long. I just look at them and I look away.
Here's an idea, maybe it'll help. Next time you see that person, you know, like their arms are,
Yeah.
or whatever, they're obviously in that shape, or they're
Right.
in a chair, or, you know, something like that. Maybe just, instead of staring, you make eye contact and just go, hey.
Hey!
I'm totally kidding. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Please don't do
That
that.
would be really fun. What's your name, cutie pie? No, yeah.
You
No,
know,
that's
for
the thing.
$50, I'll take care of that for you.
Yeah. We'll set you straight.
Oh my God, I sound like a black hooker.
Yeah, all right. No, but yeah, that's the one thing I want to be able to do. I've noticed since I've gotten older and become an adult and become since I became an adult last year, and had children, I've actually progressively moved on to sadness when it comes to seeing stuff like that. Like I now see a child that's deformed, and just an overwhelming sadness hits me, just like boof, and I'm just like,
Ooh.
yeah, I'm just like, it's very difficult to tackle that kind of thing, especially in the moment. So you have to sort of, build up and overcome your feelings. But that sadness that hits me is just like that overwhelming, like, a perfect example would be to think of that Sarah McLachlan video for the fucking ASPCA. I will remember you, and you're like, oh, you motherfucker, man.
Dude, those things piss me off.
I know. Every time I see them, I'm just like, you.
But I got to give them credit, man. They tug the heartstrings before
they work.
Before they rip them off.
That's right. Before they hit your wallet.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well.
Before I get pissed, I'm so, oh, whoa, you fuckers.
Yeah. The ones that always get me now is the ones, the children's hospital ones. And it's just like, I just can't, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's sad. It's very sad.
Yes.
Supreme sad.
Yes, but, it pisses me off that they're playing on your emotions.
Yes.
Totally playing on your emotions.
Yes.
Manipulating you.
And it's not just that fucking stuff. There's other stuff that does that too. Like Budweiser did that the one year at the Super Bowl.
Oh, well, that's okay.
They
Advertising for big commercial corporate America is okay.
They did that shit with the 9/11. You know what I mean? They did. And I'm just like, oh, man, come on.
Or like it's phony, but it feels like what the NFL is doing now. The NFL is now, we support our veterans, and
right.
Each stadium in 1 week is where all the teams wearing camouflage outfits is like, oh, yeah, now I'm smart enough to know you're only doing that because of the backlash.
Right.
So you appear fake.
Exactly. So you want to come across as being this supporter of these things, and maybe you do throw a little money at it, but to be honest with you, man, nobody in their facility, nobody in their fucking higher up, their upper management, nobody's sitting there going, oh, you know what? Before we make every single decision, let's think about our veterans. They're not. You know what I mean? And another one that really gets me is the Gay Month, Gay Pride Month. You know what? That's cool. I'm glad we have Gay Pride Month, but when all these companies come out of the woodwork and they're just like, we support you for whatever you are. We love you for who you are. We're going to fly the gay flag. Why? Because you don't want to get people to come in and buy shit. You know what I mean?
Limited edition sales, if you will.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it just pisses me off to no end. But what are you going to do? You know, it's the way that we're headed. And it's just fucking...
Corporate America is guilty on a very high level of some of this culture issues we're having.
Yeah.
And some of this... They do play on patriotism.
Sure.
They have played on the gay pride.
Yes. They do it on everything, man. Black History Month, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Child Abduction from Aliens Month. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I'm serious. Like, eventually we're going to get down to the most minute things. I farted in the back seat of a Honda at the drive-thru in McDonald's in Tallahassee, Florida month. You know what I mean? And it's just like, okay. You know what? Let's just celebrate that shit year-round and just say fuck these months. You know what I mean? I don't mind that stuff, but I honestly think that we should really kind of refocus everything. But the cancel culture right now is the biggest thing, and the high feminism rate is the thing that's pushing this stuff. It's like, you know what? I think women should be equally paid. I think they should have equal positions as long as they can do the fucking job and as long as they can do it well.
What?
I think that they should be able to... I do. I honestly do. I think that they should be able to be just as equal as everybody else. I think blacks should be, Asians should be, everybody. Native Americans, whatever. Everybody should be equal. It's all equal. As long as you do the job that you're supposed to fucking do and you do it well.
You know something? I have to give you total credit. You are 100% consistent. You've had that same view probably since I've known you. We've talked about things like this.
Yeah.
In the womb.
What up, Bob? Equality, man.
Let's see what Jeff's doing.
Hey, man, I'm at your toes. Yeah. No, so yeah.
But you've been consistent on everybody is equal.
Yeah.
And I agree with that to a point, but only a little bit, because I think everybody is different.
Everybody is. That's why I said do the job and do it well.
We do fit into our pigeonholes.
It's pigeon toes.
Is that pigeonholes?
Yeah, pigeonholes.
We do fit into them.
Yes.
Like sometimes I'm in the white pigeonhole.
Yes.
Sometimes I'm in the he's a little weird pigeonhole.
Right.
Sometimes I'm in the poor pigeonhole.
Right. Exactly. You fit into different things at different times. That's true.
And I'm totally different. Now, that being said, that I'm totally different, some of my natural skills are going to be totally different.
Sure.
And I may sound sexist, but when it comes to any kind of housekeeping job,
Yeah.
I will hire and pay a woman more first than a man.
Sure.
And I probably sound very sexist in saying that
No. No.
because I think they are better for the job.
They are better for the job because they are honed to be better for that job.
So you think that's not?
I don't think that's an equality issue.
You think that's a learned issue?
I think that is an ingrained issue,
I
not learned.
Oh, you think it's ingrained?
It's ingrained because women have. It's already proven women have better acuity when it comes to that kind of stuff. They may not be as big and burly and you know as muscular and as strong and as huge and as nice and sexy and hot as men.
Not quite.
But they are definitely, they can look at a situation and they can well define how this situation can change for the better, much better than men can. That's because they're completely based on emotions. Almost every single woman you meet, unless they have some type of, you know, manliness to them, that's the way they are. And they will tell you that every fucking time. They have a better sense of acuity when it comes to how you should dress, how you look, how you should feel, what this thing should look like, how your house should be, you know, how your car should look, you know, everything. Guys don't buy nice looking cars in order to impress other guys. They do it to impress chicks. The only reason why we try to impress other guys is to make them jealous. That's it. That's it. For women, it's, I'll dig your ride, you're getting laid. That's what they want to hear. You know, that's it. Women have that sense, that beautiful idea of what things should be. Men have it to an extent too, but it's not a very strong craving for us. Our strongest cravings are acceptance, strength, to prove that we're strong, and the ability to provide. For the most part, in some way, shape, or form. Not everybody's like that. You're right. Pigeonhole away when it comes to that stuff. But you're right. When I'm going to hire somebody to clean my house, it's not going to be a man. Because a guy will overlook shit just because he's a guy. You know what I mean? The dust on the top of my fucking baseboards, that's going to get overlooked because that's not a guy thing to look at that kind of shit. Women will look at that. They will do a better job at that kind of thing. That's not an equality issue. That really isn't. But back to your pigeonholing comment, and honestly, this is 100% true. You do get pigeonholed for being white. Sometimes we get told, or we've been told, and shamed for the fact that we have something called white privilege. I do not have white privilege, but I do, and you do too. We've never seen it.
2 point.
We've never seen it. But it's there. It happens. You know what I mean? A great example of that is, it's 12 o'clock midnight, you walk into a McDonald's, there's a woman working behind the cash register, you're the only guy in the restaurant that's come in. It doesn't matter how much you look grumpy, it doesn't matter how much you look this or that. If you're white, she takes a lot more security in the fact that you're probably not going to want to rob her. Now, I know that sounds fucking racist as shit. But she is taking that because of the white privilege in her mind. You're a white guy, you're not going to rob me. That's the worst fucking possible thing you can think. But it's absolutely 100% true. Whereas, if a black man comes in, walks in and says, he's looking at the menu board, she's getting a little bit more scared. That's where that privilege plays in, where we don't see it. We don't even notice it. Nobody notices it. I am the first person to try and admit that when I'm walking down the street, if I see a collective group of guys, I'm going to get a little bit more nervous if it's a collective group of black men who seem like they have nothing better to do than if it's a group of white men. But that's not always true. It really comes down to my perception of what I'm seeing ahead of me. If I see that it's businessmen and they're all black, I am not for 1 second thinking that these guys are going to do jack shit to me. But if I see a bunch of what I consider to be gangsters or hoodlums or I see a group of rednecks with beards who look like they've been beating the fence that the one guy's standing against, I'm going to have fear in my heart for that. So the color of the person, not necessarily so much as what I'm perceiving up ahead. White privilege, it exists, but it's not anything that, we ask for. And people are just like, well, you get it. And it's like, I don't. You know what I mean? A cop still fucking pulls me over. I still go to jail because I owe fucking parking tickets. You know what I mean? I don't get any special privileges. Mostly because when cops look at me, they go, oh my God, this guy's 9 times bigger than I am. I'm going to have to call for backup. But I turn out to be a guy who's, easygoing, and I'm not going to try and attack this cop this time.
He's medicated. He's medicated.
That's right. That's right. I got Xanax, bitch. Let's go. So no, but yeah, that's my thing. I think we've been placing too much emphasis on, white privilege and sexism and all this stuff. And in some regards, it's definitely a valid point. There are some very good points out there people have made. Some of these people getting choked out by cops or killed by cops for whatever reason when they weren't really doing anything wrong. Those are the ones that I'm just like, this is fucking up the whole system. You know what I mean? It's like, we're getting better, but you guys keep fucking skewing it. Anyway.
Exactly.
You agree.
I agree.
All right.
No, not really.
No,
Yeah, some I do.
Okay.
I don't really know what to say about white privilege. I have lots of thoughts on it.
Yeah.
My first thought is, and I don't know why, but it is, who makes the best athletes time and time again in the world?
Black men.
That come from?
United States.
Well, I meant originally from Africa.
Oh, from Africa, yes.
Those make the best athletes.
Yes.
Each race has their own little thing that they do better.
Yeah.
To
an extent, yes. Yes.
And now, I think because we have white privilege, is because the way we're perceiving it, I don't know how to really explain this, except that everybody sees right now the whole world, pretty much. Yeah. And they see who's in charge. Who's in charge right now? White men, right?
Yes.
From the United States of America,
For
right?
the most part, yeah.
And most people in the United States of America are white.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. And everybody within the United States of America also sees this, and they're thinking, oh, the problem is with whites. That's the same kind of thinking that watermelon and fried chicken. Stereotype.
Okay.
Stereotype.
Yeah.
But I contend, I don't care what race you are, or what. People are going to be ignorant to all kinds of colors.
Sure.
It doesn't matter.
Sure.
And so, white. Who was that big bad Chinese leader from many eons ago? Ting Fu Tang Dynasty.
There's all kinds of them. There's General So. There's
Okay, there's a good one right there. General So.
Okay.
Was it Chinese privilege? Everybody back in that day in that scope, all they saw was China. And occasionally they might see a black man or a white man or some white British,
Yeah.
So, but superior is Chinese in their scope. So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're kind of looking at okay, so here's the majority, and that majority is the one that's being picked on because it's the majority, not necessarily because they're white or or Asian or whatever.
Not.
I agree to an extent. The only flaw with that is what people are pointing out is not that. What they're pointing out is that all of these laws and everything that we have, which they're right, all of these laws that we have created and enacted have really kind of been to the benefit of the white man because it's been white men growing up. So in other words, we started this country, it was mostly white men. Then we had slaves, but the slaves weren't able to do anything. You go on over a period of time, and then you get to this point now where, yeah, there's still a lot of white people. There's a lot of white people. There's a lot of black people. There's a lot of Hispanic people. And there's a lot of Asian people, all in this country. Okay? There's other, different things, but for the most part, that's the main four. And Native Americans, but... Now you have all of these people who are trying to get an equality. They're trying to be equal, and women, that's another thing. They're all trying to be equal, but they're trying to do so under laws that were created way back when for the white man. A great for instance is this. Handgun laws, okay? Were put into place specifically when all the white people were in town and everybody was like, oh, cool, okay, everybody can have a gun. Then in the 1960s, the Black Panthers were created, and they grew very quickly to say, hey, listen, we're tired of being taken advantage of. Let's do some shit about this. As soon as they rose up to power, the cities changed their laws in order to make handguns illegal for specific reasons. Another really good example, marijuana. Of course, we know in the 1930s, after we did the giant show on marijuana, we know in the 1930s that some kook came along and said, oh, I did marijuana and I got really weirded out and I turned into a bat and flew around the room. So that's the reason why our marijuana laws exist. It's the reason why it's still considered a Schedule I narcotic. But in actuality, that's not what happens. So we criminalized marijuana. But at the time that we ended up criminalizing it, the majority of the people who partook of marijuana ended up being lower societal class and black. A lot of the possession laws that we currently have on the books affect mostly people of color. We didn't always get high, but the black community has always accepted getting high. So they've kind of kept it as their thing, but then the police sort of started cracking down on it and making it really, really bad. Well, when they started realizing, we're arresting a lot of black people, let's put these other little tiny laws into effect. So states and cities, local ordinance, started enacting smaller laws, things like paraphernalia. And that's the reason why people ended up getting busted more, is because of paraphernalia. Not necessarily because of the drugs. Although people still do get hit over the drugs, they still get hit more for paraphernalia. And that affected primarily all those people who were getting high. And these people didn't have a chance to get up out of that. If I came to you and I said to you today, dude, okay, the law has been enacted that only people with the name Dan, and it's legal, only the people with the name Dan that get caught with marijuana have to serve 10 years in prison. I send you to prison, okay? There is nobody to advocate for you. You end up getting 10 years, and of course you'll get a reduced sentence to 7 if you act good. But that's very difficult to do in prison, by the way. But you're going to act good, you're going to be able to get out in 7. But all you did was you had marijuana, that was it. And we're starting to see now that marijuana's not so bad. We should just be like, oh, okay, well, the guy's name is Dan sounds really fucking unfair. So let's do something about that law. Let's change that law. Let's make it so that it's either doesn't exist or it includes Jeffs too. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? That's exactly what it comes down to, is either we get rid of the stupid laws,
which they never really do. The repeals are few and far between.
Right. They won't. What's going to have to happen is all of the states are going to have to basically go and say, okay, we accept marijuana as being a possibility. Let's let everybody smoke weed. And then the federal government's going to have to take a look at all of these states and say, listen, in order for this to happen, which, by the way, can be done overnight. everybody's like, oh man, you got to do all this, and that in order to fucking legalize marijuana. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
No, you don't. It takes a fucking one vote out of both Congresses, and
if you want to talk about regulating it, then do it after
right.
legalization.
Exactly, legalize it and then reform the damn thing.
Don't set up a system. Like Pennsylvania actually has sort of a good idea. They legalize marijuana, but they're the dealer.
Right.
And the only legal dealer.
Yeah.
Now, their smart thing they do is they already have an entire liquor store system in place.
Right. So just transfer all that shit right into that.
Now, unfortunately, it's not really free.
No.
But all of us stoners who've been beaten down for 420 years.
Exactly.
Are just going, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to want to Dude, to be honest with you, if it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I can either be harassed about it and distraught about it and worried about it all the time and really paranoid and all this shit, or I can pay a small tax on top of what I'm typically paying for it, get it legally, and everything's hunky-dory. I'm definitely going for this object over here. I'm definitely doing the tax, man. Especially when you start to realize that, man, some of these states that have these legalized marijuana, like recreational marijuana, they're making fucking money hand over fist. And it's just like, well, what's it going to? It's going to lower property taxes. Colorado's fucking property taxes are almost null.
And some states, Oregon, are mismanaging it.
Right.
They have way too much pot.
Right.
They grew too much pot.
Yeah.
And it's like, dumbass.
Yeah, now they have to ship it out or bring Dan in, one of the
two. It's not going to be cheap.
That's right. You want to charge me to smoke it? I'm going to charge you to smoke it. I'm going to smoke it, but I'm going to charge you to do that. Yeah. No, honestly, I think there's a lot of reform that just needs to be done to laws in general, and white privilege is one of those things where it's just kind of like, it's written into the books, but it's subliminal. It's one of those things where we don't see it because it's not written oh, you're a white guy? Okay, you're good to go. You can go free. It's not like that.
I will look for that. I will keep an eye open.
Yeah. Just look at how people react towards you. I mean, that's the thing. When you walk into a place and you see, a friendly-looking white guy standing there, you kind of feel at home. You feel a little bit more comfortable. But if you walked into a convenience store and it was an angry black man, what the fuck you want? At that point, you're just going to kind of be like...
Where's my wallet?
Yeah. No, you're going to be like, I don't think I want to shop here anymore. You know what I mean? That's all part of that white privilege thing. That's all part of that white privilege. Because if you were an angry white guy, you know what the first thing people are going to think is? Oh, he must just be having a bad day. But you go into that black store and the black guy's really fucking angry, you're just kind of like...
Well, dude, I think I'd rather be perceived as just having a bad day.
I think everybody should just be perceived as having a bad day.
But
I just ask people straight out, I don't give a fuck what color they are, what's your problem? You know what I mean? But what the fuck is your deal, I go, man, speaking of which, I should have talked about that shit. Pissed me off this week. Anyway, we're kind of out of time. Well, we're way out of time. We've gone over, my man.
Only by 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that.
Well, hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. And be sure to tune in next week, Wednesday. I was almost automatically.
Almost Wednesdays.
Tuesday, 8:30-ish.
Yes.
Ish.
Yeah.
And you can find us at jeffanddan.com.
Yes.
You can also find us at Facebook. That is, what is our Facebook address?
Jeff in, as in the letter N, like Nancy, Dan.
Okay.
Yeah, Jeff in Dan.
You can also find us on Twitter by...
Jeff and Dan.
You forgot the at.
Well, at Jeff and Dan. Whatever. People know what they're doing when it comes to Twitter. At least I hope they do. If they don't, well, then, what are you doing on Twitter?
What am I forgetting?
Nothing.
Yeah. Well, one more thing.
Okay.
Big announcement next week.
Ooh.
So be sure to tune in. We have a really big announcement and you're going to want to hear this.
We have a huge ass announcement.
I got a big butt.
Very good. If you like what you saw, like, subscribe, love us on YouTube. Everybody say hi. Say something in the comments. Let us know what you think. Tell us to go fuck off or whatever, but still subscribe. Anyway, I am Jeff.
And I am pretty tired.
Yeah.
I'm Dan. Thank you for tuning in.
It's late at night. See you guys later. Bye-bye now.